The Milestones series on recovery, tracking the milestones of the recovery world, chronicling the industry leaders, revealing their insights. Milestones, saving families, saving lives. Dave, share with us your huge and tremendous contribution to people who are recovering or who have had an addiction in the past.
I think it takes a village, and it's the whole continuum of care that makes a difference for our residents who are transitioning out of treatment.
So you have 3 sober living homes. Explain what is a living home.
It's a home that ideally is staffed by salaried employees that have been through recovery themselves, who are there to be an example and help lead others into the earlier stages of recovery and to helping them establish long-term recovery.
So your salaried staff and employees are setting an example and saying, see, I overcame this. I'm doing well.
Absolutely. I mean, I worked in the music industry for 14 years and had no idea what I was going to do when I got sober, but I knew I couldn't go back to that old lifestyle and employment. And so it was a process, and I just trust the process.
So this process, the sober living home, is that a transition from, I was here in this bad place, I've come through this treatment, I'm almost ready, but I don't want to go fully back and immerse myself in society?
Absolutely. I think that's exactly it. I mean, after my first 2 treatment centers, I thought I would never drink or use again. After the first one, it was 10 days later I relapsed, and after the second one, it was 30 days later. And so I took suggestion and direction and went forward to go into sober living. And trust in that process, and just kind of taking suggestion and direction led me into a path that I couldn't have expected.
So you've been through the process, through the entire process. You were down and out, you went through the treatment, you relapsed, you came back. Now you're in a situation where you're hiring other people to help other people. And you said something that's very important. You talked about compassion. How important is compassion in the recovery process?
Oh, I think it's probably the most important thing, because we don't want to overlook what each individual's needs are. We got to pay attention to their feelings and what they're going through, and awareness is so key, and having compassion for each individual, because everybody's journey is a different process, and so it's really taking care of individuals with individual care.
What are you grateful for, Dave?
I'm grateful for a lot, but as my mom says, without your health and your faith, you have very little.
How important is it for people within the industry, East Coast, West Coast, North, South, to work together and collaborate?
Oh, I think it's essential. I think it would be a disadvantage to the people we're trying to help if we didn't work together. If it's not appropriate for Bridge, it's important that we find the appropriate place for the individual. And when we do find the people that are appropriate for our facilities, that we're working together as a team, because it does take a village, and Bridge is one small component, and the clinical work and the family work, it's all really important to work together.
There's that wonderful saying that sometimes is just sounds like a few words put together: be the change that you want to see. How can we be that change?
Following our integrity and staying true to ourselves, but also trying to raise the bar for what we can do, as opposed to just doing what we do without challenging ourselves or others.
So you're talking about as an industry as a whole, to raise the bar and to make sure that there's always integrity in the work that they do and what they offer to help people.
Absolutely, as well as, like we said, compassion, and really trying to identify the core issues, but also the underlying issues, because for me it was the underlying issues that had me relapsing over and over. So it's really
getting to the root cause.
Absolutely.
So what is your connection and your relationship with Milestones Ranch Malibu?
Well, gosh, Bridge loves Milestones. They've been very supportive of what Bridge is doing, and they've taken the time to get to know us, and in exchange we've really come to appreciate and admire what they do here in terms of individual care, especially for the dual diagnosis client.
And what's your hope for the future?
Well, in the industry, my hope would be that we continue to work towards a common goal, which is to help these people who are struggling, and to give them hope, and to use a lot of compassion.
I can tell, Dave, it's very obvious that you're driven by your passion and your desire to help people, and also to teach people what you've learned through your life. So I say thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.